The hypothalamus is the structure of the diencephalon deep within the brain. Several clusters of neurons within the hypothalamus produce hormones, while others communicate directly with target structures through cranial nerves. The hormone-producing neuron clusters produce hormones that target the anterior pituitary gland, controlling what hormones are released from the anterior pituitary. There are 4 hormones we will examine. All of them are releasing hormones, which means that they will stimulate the anterior pituitary to secrete a specific hormone in response to it. The first is thyrotropin-releasing hormone, which stimulates the anterior pituitary to secrete thyroid-stimulating hormone. Growth hormone-releasing hormone stimulates the release of growth hormone from the anterior pituitary. Corticotropin-releasing hormone stimulates the release of adrenocorticotropic hormone. And finally, gonadotropin-releasing hormone stimulates the secretion of follicle-stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone from the anterior pituitary. The release of these 2 hormones initiates the onset of puberty, promoting the maturation of reproductive structures, in addition to maintaining normal function of those reproductive organs during adulthood. All of the hormones of the hypothalamus are tropic hormones, which is a type of hormone that targets another endocrine gland. As we will soon see, most of the anterior pituitary hormones are also tropic hormones. The pituitary gland is a small 2-lobed gland located at the base of the hypothalamus, with a thin stalk of tissue called the infundibulum that connects it to the hypothalamus. The gland consists of 2 parts, the anterior pituitary and the posterior pituitary. The anterior pituitary is composed of gland tissue and is connected to the hypothalamus by a vascular connection. Small capillary beds, called the hypophyseal portal system, connect the 2. Hormones produced by neuron clusters of the hypothalamus are secreted into the hypophyseal portal system capillaries, and those hormones will then influence the anterior pituitary cells. The posterior pituitary is a brain structure. It is actually an extension of neuron axons of some of the neuron clusters of the hypothalamus. Neuron axons in the posterior pituitary secrete the hormones they produce directly into the bloodstream of systemic circulation. Focusing for a moment on the anterior pituitary, we find that the releasing hormones of the hypothalamus that we examined previously will stimulate the anterior pituitary to release one or more corresponding hormones. Figure 17.7 examines the basic structures of the hypothalamus and pituitary gland connections. The pituitary gland is subdivided into the anterior and posterior pituitary. The gland is connected to the hypothalamus by way of the infundibulum. The anterior pituitary is composed of gland tissue with extensive capillary networks within it. The capillary networks are connected by a small series of veins called the hypophyseal portal veins. Neurons from the hypothalamus secrete their hormones into the capillaries, and it is the capillaries that carry the hormones to the gland tissue of the anterior pituitary. This allows the hypothalamus to release a small amount of hormone into the capillary network, rather than having the hormone become diluted by secreting it into systemic circulation. The anterior pituitary produces and secretes 6 major hormones. The posterior pituitary is composed of neuron axons extending down from the hypothalamus. These neurons release their hormones directly into capillary networks within the posterior pituitary, and it is these capillaries that carry the hormone directly to systemic circulation. We will see later that the posterior pituitary neurons secrete 2 important hormones.